morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you are. A time zone friendly welcome to the PGL Asia Minor Championships. That's right, the road to the PGL Krakow Major starts right now, although for some teams it's been going on for a number of weeks already. The qualifiers are done. We now know the teams that have made it through to the Asia Minor, as well as our two invited teams. We're going to introduce you to our teams very shortly, but first let's introduce you to our panel members as well. They are bright and bushy-tailed this early morning here in Europe. Good morning to Nato and to Dust. How you doing?
We're doing pretty well. I've got to make sure people know that I slept 8 hours.
Reasonable.
I wasn't going to raise it.
Only triple the amount that we've gotten.
I wasn't going to raise it. Just the fact that we've been awake for 43 years.
I just got these clothes an hour ago.
You did. He's only just got his luggage. You've had too much sleep. This could prove to be a fun day, first day. We've got 4 days ahead of us.
Yeah.
Before we talk about the PGL Asia Minor Championship, I do want to talk to you both about where we are right now in this run to the major, because we've already had some upsets and a big name has already dropped out as well. Yeah,
I mean, NIP going out obviously being the one that you're hitting at, but they've not had the greatest time recently, so I'm not even sure if it's shocking you. They've kept finding new lows, this team has, and unfortunately, this is going to be the end of the road for this lineup, though.
Yeah, to think they're not even going to be at the minor is actually pretty insane. Like when you think about just like how far they've fallen, really. Didn't think it was possible for them to fall this far.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it certainly is upsetting to already see a legendary team, a legendary brand like NIP to not even make it to the minor. That's insane.
What else? What else has surprised you at all in the qualifiers, if anything?
I mean, I think just overall, I think just getting more and more stacked, the minors are. If you compare it to for the first time we were here, actually, a year ago, or a bit more than a year ago, teams, they were more lower level teams, Obviously, some of these players have become big names on the scene, or made their way into bigger teams, but it's overall, I feel like the minors are getting more rough. Even the major qualifier itself is going to be just brutal. So, the road, it just becomes more and more hard as the time goes past.
Indeed. This is the first minor on the road to the major, as it were. We've got the American one coming, and of course Europe as well as the offline finals before the major itself. So 4 big tournaments before we even get to the major. That's how tough the road is. It starts right now, as we said, with 8 teams. Let's show you the 8 teams that are going to be involved here in the PGL Asia Minor. 2 teams you'll be familiar with who qualified for the offline finals last time the Asia Minor Championships ran for Atlanta. It was, of course, Renegades and Tai Lu. They're split across the 2 groups right now. And in the other groups, Group A will start with them. Flash Gaming, Signature, and Team Spotnet. Very interesting setup in that group. We'll talk about that in just a moment. And Group B, led by Tai Lu. The Mongols, also previous qualifiers in there as well. Immunity from Australia, New Zealand, and 7642. Let's start with the whole Tai Lu Flash thing.
Sure.
Because that's quite interesting, Dust, isn't it? In the sense that you've got, effectively, 2 teams that have been born from one and kind of split apart and now added a couple of more components in.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts that went on, a lot of drama, I guess, because, I mean, like, everyone got benched, and then people got reinstated, and then Attacker played for them at Vegas, and then immediately left to go join Flash, and then, of course, Fancy One never did get reinstated. He was the one that, like, got permanently benched and moved on over. Then you have Karsa, of course, who was the coach for Tyler. He was their tactical mastermind. He built pretty much all of their executes and did all of their anti-stratting to get some of those upset wins, like at Malmö whenever they beat Luminosity in that best of 3, and now he's going to be in-game as an in-game leader, playing some of his first real serious, Counter-Strike and perhaps some of his first international play as a player, you know what I mean? So
yeah, and on the Tyler side, you still have the veteran in Mo, for example, who's been a staple off that team for the longest time. I think he's a pretty solid operator. I think interesting to see how Didi does as an in-game leader for Tyler as well. Yeah. He's been a relatively impactful player for them as an individual. How does it work for him being an in-game leader and then also trying to have that fragging ability, which seems to be the requirement nowadays for in-game leaders as well. On the other hand, like you pointed out, Karsa now playing instead of coaching, him being, I think, behind a lot of the success that Tai Lu had. Obviously not major success, but still, all those upset wins still mean something, right? So, putting together that team with him playing as an in-game leader is going to be very interesting to see how it works.
I also feel like we have to mention early and often Ben Tet. Like, this guy is probably the best player in Asia, and he's going to be the best player in this tournament, and he's a guy to keep an eye on to be perhaps like the next guy that kind of comes out of obscurity and becomes like an international phenom. Like, the guy puts up outrageous numbers. I want to see him be able to do at this event as well.
Very
Lack of
interesting
Korean
as well.
teams too. Lack of Korean teams.
Definitely lack of Korean
Yeah,
teams.
I mean they've shown that they have the theories down, but I think just the way they play hasn't been developed enough, at least in the previous minors. So I'm not really surprised. It seems like the other parts of Asia have kind of gone past and become better than Korea, which kind of feels weird coming from the era that we have, Paul.
Indeed, yeah, yeah. The old days of the Koreans doing well at big international tournaments seem a long way away. I was thinking about that with Mo, because he's been there since they had 1.6 in the team.
Yeah, I mean, and
so it's got to be what, 6.5, 7 years, something like that.
Yeah, and it's been around for a long time, and I think what's cool, he's close to my age. Also, he's like close to being. I think he's around 30. It's 29, 20. Yeah, still, I mean, relatively 27. Old for a Counter-Strike player, and still he's a very, very
disgustingly old, Natu. What are you doing?
Exactly right. It's very. Paul, come on now.
You should still be playing, sir. Actually, can we play in DreamHack together next year?
I don't think we should.
No. All right. Well, Int said he wanted to put together a team, you see, so I thought, well, Int, Spawn, Natu, that sounds quite good.
Yeah, throw a bit of Paul in there. Why not?
I can just sit at the back and AWP. It's fine. Yeah. Just cover for me.
Play the defensive AWPing.
Indeed, yeah, very defensive AWPing, not moving in Spawn, buying other people's guns.
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of the other teams that we've got, Dust, Renegades obviously stand out as the ones that have got plenty of international experience. They've got a new lineup as such now, with 2 players joining over the last few months. What sort of impact do you feel they've had so far, and can they stand out as the favourites here?
Well, I mean, IM Sydney did not go well. Like, their debut, they pretty much got ravaged. I mean, I don't even think they were competitive in that tournament. I don't know that they got more than 6 rounds in any of the 3 losses that they had there. So that was definitely like kind of a trial by fire. It's an interesting situation because not only do you have Nexa coming in very young, I think he's 19 years old. You know, he doesn't really have international experience. And so you already have that responsibility in a way on your shoulders trying to adapt to that new environment. And then on top of that, you have to be the in-game leader for the team as well. And that just adds even more weight now and stress. Obviously, he has help from Kassad. And I know Nifty has experience in-game leading with Selfless, so I know he'll be able to pitch in. But that's a lot on him. And then, you know, this is Nifty's chance to see what he's got because he's also quite young at 19 years old. So show us something with that AWP, you know. All
right, we're going to get more from both of you in just a moment. But why don't we take you through the structure and the prize money? Because there is prize money, of course, for the majors and also for the minors as well. The way this will work out is we have 2 groups, 4 teams in each, as you've seen before already. It will be GSL format. You're very familiar with that, I'm sure. Top 2 advance from that GSL format, and there will be upper bracket matches, which will be best of 1. The lower brackets will be best of 3, both eliminations, and then we'll move on to the playoffs, double elimination, and always best of 3. $50,000 up for grabs, $30,000 for first, 15 for second, and 5 for third. So we will have a grand final as well. That was one of the questions that someone asked me on Twitter earlier on was, well, if 2 teams go through, why do we even bother playing a grand final?
And seeds also for the major
seeds
qualifier.
And money.
Exactly. Yep. That makes a difference, does it? I think that $5 grand you're going to get for the 3rd place is going to be bittersweet because you're not going to be able to get to the major qualifier. You still get $5 grand. But, you know, what really counts here is to get into the major qualifier, right?
Thanks for $1,000.
A bit of for your troubles, right? So. Yeah. But yeah, just to go back to Renegades, I think for a bit, I think it's an interesting team in this tournament. Obviously, one of the favorites going in, but at the same time, you know, it's funny how they finally kind of realized coming in as an all Australian team and now going into more international, kind of figuring out, okay, things are not going to work out the way they were. They need to figure out new ways to make things work. And now that they are in NA, obviously, way wider player pool to be picking out from. And I think Nexa is definitely an interesting player. I think I read an interview from JKS or one of the guys from Renegades saying that Nifty was actually doing most of the in-game leading recently. So they've been apparently experimenting with it quite a bit. So Sydney, they had only just put this lineup together, so take it a bit with a grain of salt when it comes to the results over there. Very different caliber of teams, but at the same time, it's always tough for them going into the Asian minor because they play the NA meta. It's the way NA teams play, and now going into playing against Asian teams where the culture is different, just the way to approach into the game is very different.
And there's no CLG.
That's very true.
Which they've lost to 3 times in the last 2 months. They must have been like, thank God there's no CLG in this tournament. Because it, of course, is the Asia area. I also want to talk about, as we'll look at the schedule, actually, and show you what we've got lined up over the next 4 days before we talk about the rest of the teams. Today we're starting off, it is, of course, Thursday, June the 1st. We'll start off with Flash Gaming versus Signature and move on to Renegades versus Spotnet. We'll also have the upper bracket final and the elimination matches, both from Group A. You won't see any of Group B today. However, tomorrow, on Friday, you absolutely will, because we'll do it all again. It'll be exactly the same format, all 5 matches in a row, 3 best-of-1s and 2 best-of-3s, and we'll sort out Group B. The third day will be our semi-final day in the upper bracket, and obviously we'll move on through that to the grand final on the last day. Top 2 positions do get a place in the offline finals. Not going to the major just yet. This is like the qualifier for the qualifier.
Inception.
And these guys have already qualified
For the qualifier.
for this qualifier. Like, that's mind-blowing how big this whole majors circuit's got now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense though. I mean, it needs to be super hard. I think back in my days, you didn't even have to go back further than a couple of years, and it was way different. Now,
but you could basically turn up to a LAN event.
Yeah.
With your PCs, put them on the bench and go, yeah, we'll play in the tournament. And you'd play, and then you could do quite well and get prize money.
Yeah, well, not for the majors, but yeah, for smaller tournaments, that is very true. But when they've introduced the minor system, last year? The first one was in January last year, and I think it's just overall really good for the scene. We get to teams we don't really get to see as often in LAN environment.
We'd never see a team from the Lebanon, for instance, playing in an international tournament. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I want to see more of them, though. I want to see Africa involved, for instance. I want to see South America involved more. I want to see a lot of these other countries that we haven't seen, that we know are playing Counter-Strike, but where are they?
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, I mean, and then they'll have the possibilities of, if not teams, then at least individuals. Now that more international teams have become a thing, you'll have that platform for teams and players that you don't get to see as often to have the possibility of showcasing their skills and potentially get picked up by a team from other parts of the world. You never know.
Okay. We're going to talk more about this throughout the day, actually, I'm sure. First of all, though, we're going to move on to our first match of the day and talk about Flash versus Signature. Our first team are Flash. And we've already spoken briefly about them, Dust, as we look at the lineup. What is your inkling for them? Because we haven't seen too much of them play. Obviously, they've done okay in China. They come through the qualifiers very easily against Vici, which you probably have expected them to, I guess, looking at them on paper.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's basically all they've played in as well with this full lineup as well. So there hasn't been a whole lot to even, like, I scoured through those matches trying to learn about them, and there wasn't a whole lot to find because it felt like they were holding back tactically. Like, they weren't really going to what I expect Karsa's probably cooking up. He's known for these elaborate executes. They weren't really running that in the qualifier, so I expect they've been saving that for this moment. They're definitely a team that's going to be tactically sound. I think that's one of the things going for them is Karsa. And their players usually always play well within the region, right? Even guys like Attacker and Fanti One, who perhaps have not had the same international showings as they show in Asia, you know, they're in their environment right now. And so guys like that should be enough firepower for Karsa to kind of move on the chessboard to make things happen.
Yeah, I mean, what I thought Tyler was always known about for kind of finding new ways of playing comparing to, like, the European top teams, for example. Remember, for example, they played against Navi at an SLTV event where on Mirage City side, they sent 2 catwalk on that map, which is very uncommon. You know, usually you'll have one player there and then maybe one playing window, one is connector. You try to create that triangle of doom, as we say, in middle to try to contest it, but instead they were running a very different kind of setups and a lot of different kind of aggression. So definitely looking forward to how they play. I don't think they'll have to maybe throw everything at here in the first games. I feel like they are very get a good spot when it comes to this group. But further down in the tournament, when they play against better opposition, I feel like, you know, I'm going to be expecting a lot of them when it comes to just kind of spice things up with different kind of play styles.
I think we should also mention Kaze really quick because he's like a guy that's coming from a different country. You know, I think he's Malaysia, right? He's playing on MVP Karnal and Fire Dragoon JYP. He's very young. He's a main op for the team. And this guy has looked pretty brilliant in what he's done so far. So it'll be interesting to see him take that next step and see what he can do in a setting like this.
Okay, let's take a look at the opponents as well of this team. It's Signature Gaming. I guess when you look at them on paper, they're Thailand's best team. They've won 3 national titles this year alone. Always seem to beat their other team, which is 76-42. I say the other team in Thailand, that seem to do quite well. They were also 5th, 6th at the WESG Asia Finals. That's about all I can really recall from them doing anything internationally. On paper, that's not going to be enough here, is it?
I mean, and only 2 of their players remain from that as well. Like Tor and STK were the only people who were playing at that WESG event. They have 3 new players coming in. 2 of them came from like Myth or MITH. I'm not sure how they like to say that. And then they have, you know, this new guy, Genius, who the only recorded play has been with Signature in recent times. So yeah, it's hard to pick out too much about them because of, you know, the lineup changes that have taken place. And those departing pieces are on 76-42, which we'll see tomorrow, which is kind of an interesting storyline as well. But yeah, I mean, they obviously come into this as an underdog, but they you know, are going to get some of their first forays at playing at this type of level.
Yeah, and I think, again, it goes back to the fact that we've seen before from a lot of these teams, especially like the teams we don't expect to be doing this well at the Asian Minor. We see individuals. We see great individual plays from these kind of guys. So what I'm looking forward to is finding something different and find someone new to watch and look at. If he's going to be someone super explosive. So that's always the fun part.
I'm also looking forward to having a discussion with you that doesn't revolve around the fact that the logo means nothing to the team's name. They're called Flash, but they've got a saber-toothed tiger, I think it is, as a logo. You're disgusted by this.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? Isn't it?
Why are you so freaked out about it?
I don't know. It's like you look at the name, you look at the logo, you're like, what's going on here? It doesn't make sense. The world is about to collapse. It's 4 in the morning, boys.
It's
We're in the
destroyed
studio.
Natu. We're only on day one.
Well, it's it's one of those things. You get mind-boggled by some things, and for me, it's Flash.
All right, okay. We're going to move towards the
Let's
map
hope that
vetoes.
continues in the game as well.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move towards the map vetoes very shortly. As and when they come up, we'll talk about them. In the way that this tournament's set up, Natu, you should, on paper at least, be able to predict this. So I'm going to get a prediction from both of you right now. Who goes through? Who are the two teams?
In this group?
From the whole thing.
Oh, from the whole team? I think it's Renegades, Flash, or Tyloo, or the three teams that are going to be fighting for it. It's very hard to say how does it work between Flash and Tyloo, especially if they end up facing, let's say, in the semis, for example.
The amount of mind games that would be there would be insane.
Yeah, it's a double elimination, though, so we're definitely going to get the two best teams. I think if I had to throw it out there right now, I think Flash is going to go through. I think Renegades are going to go through just because they have more experience when it comes to overall playing international tournaments, all that.
Okay. Map vetoes on the screen. We're going to get Train for our first map of the day. Any thoughts on that, Dust?
I mean, again, for Flash, it's hard to know because I think they've only played that map maybe once, if at all. So it's hard to really know exactly what they're going to put onto it. And when I look at a team like Signature, it's not as if Train was actually, like, online results-wise, one of their best. I mean, they've been more towards, like, Cobble and Mirage have been probably some of their better maps. So, yeah, it's really hard to know. I think Flash will tactically be a little bit better. I think they'll probably show us a little bit more. Maybe they'll save some stuff, though. Maybe they won't even feel the need that they have to go for it.
Maybe they won't even have any. I mean, that's the other problem, Natu, isn't it? Sometimes new teams come to this, new form, and they kind of go, let's just have some good standards here. Let's just have some good basic strats rather than going crazy.
Thing is, in the best of one, you're always going to end up in a bit of a middle ground. And when you're a team like Flash in this situation, you're always going to have the upper hand anyway. So you want to steer away from any of the maps that seems like they're a comfort zone for your opposition. And Mirage is definitely a map for their opponents. That seems to be a map they really like to go for example, if they've got rid of that. So, I mean, it makes sense to go into a map like Train.
All right, thank you very much, gents. We are ready for our first game of the day. Enjoy the PGL Asia Minor Championship, which starts right now with our first game in Group A.
Thank you very much, Paul. Yeah, we're going to be taking you through the first map of the Asian Minor. Boogie,
yes, indeed.
How are you feeling about this, man? I bet you're excited.
I am excited. Yes. I'm so excited I haven't actually gotten a shut-eye for the whole night. Well, for the whole night, that's a bit too much to say. But we're actually very, very happy to bring you this production. We are in Europe at the moment, so we are. Yep. But nonetheless, it's an exciting development to see because, of course, two of these teams in the minors are going to be going forward to a very, very special event. So it will be very good to know which ones they're going to be. Now, we are looking today at two very, very strong teams, Signature and Flash. We were talking about earlier who was going to be the MVP that we're going to be looking at through this game, and we seem to agree that it would be Kaze, of course, because, mainly because his aggressive kind of play style and his good KD. But all in all, altogether, my favorite in here would be Flash to win the actual game. What would you reckon?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think coming through into this is they kind of touched on the desk a little bit that Tyloo, Renegades, Flash are definitely up there as some of the favorites to.
Well, they were talking at the desk.
Yeah, apparently they were for a little while. But yeah, I think it's fair to say that Kazi and also Giggs for me are probably the two players to watch here on Signature, of course.
Very good.
Giggs going to be showing what he's worth, but we're going to be jumping straight into the action here between Flash Gaming and Signature. As I, for one, am so curious to see how this tournament unravels. See which players maybe step up and get themselves somewhat established. It's going to be a slow push for the time being through on the Boxhall side, as it looks as though Signature are going to be content to try a B execute. It's only going to be Kaza who is moving his way around.
They are playing for contact here, and it is some sort of a crazy play from the CTs. Of course, Flash Gaming are playing this one very, very back. They're playing a retake scenario. Is not working out in their favor. It's going to be RLX and TDR with 2 great frags, and here comes another one. It's a great start right now for Signature, who make their way towards the B side there. The bomb has been planted, so for them it's going to be a safe entry there. The only one that remains there is going to be K's in a 1v5 situation. You wouldn't give him much of a chance now there.
Nah, I mean, if he can get a couple kills, it's going to be nice. But other than that, it's going to be a round done. And down he goes to the hands of Genius. And what's really going to screw with my mind here, Boogie, is that we have a player, Kaze and Kasa, on the same team. Come on, bros.
We can say Kaz or K's.
Kaz. I've been told his name's like Kaze,
yeah,
but
Kaze.
You've got Kaze as well. My mind is a little bit blown, I'm not going to lie.
The mind boggles.
It does. It really
I think
does.
we're going to be just fine getting into it. Yeah, we can say K's and Karsa. I hope they're not going to be cursing at us too much. Not that we would understand any of the curses, of course, but it would be good to get them curses off. Now, let's have a look at this purchase here. It's a bit of an interesting one, but it's a fast-paced roleplay indeed. Look at this, 3 UMPs and 5 AKs, and the T's are already making their way towards the A side.
Yeah, looking like it could be a roll repeat of the last round. This time, though, they do have Genius, who's watching the back flank if the CTs decide to try and push their way up. Scout has been elected for Flash in the hands of the player that we elected to watch out for. Lovey's going to be chilling in Pop Dog, but this is very slow and steady by Signature. Nothing too brash just yet.
No, they seem to have made their bit of a noise towards the B side there and then stopped in their tracks. In this situation, they're baiting on a bit of an action coming in from Flash. Of course, they are expecting a forced buy out of the CTs at this point in time, considering that the first round was won by the Ts. But still, there's no action coming yet out of Flash Gaming, and that's an interesting one for Signature, because soon, with 47 seconds left, they're going to have to make a choice and stick to it.
Yeah, and I think the choice has been made. That B is the site they'd like to funnel our way onto. Up into Catwalk, they'll be moving as Tor lands the UMP frag, and it's going to open up B. A couple of players are relatively close, but they're being picked off. Some are from the side. CZ is going to go to town, but only 1 kill will be coming back his way. Now Lovey, well, he is very close to death. Although so are Giggs and Tor, to be fair to him. He could put a real wrench in the works here, or not. Signature will pick up a second.
And there you go. That's how the cookie crumbles here. A bit of a damage done, I suppose, to our Signature's team, but not too much all in all together, considering they did get some decent bomb plants in the previous rounds here. They will be facing, of course, Flash Gaming on an eco. Full eco here. Nobody can purchase absolutely anything. Not even a flash, I suppose. This is a bit 250 bought by Karsa. I'm not too sure if I agree with the purchase. He could go for a UMP and then just hold a close angle, go for a place like Pop Dog or a low rampy, just to hold on to a more aggressive position as a CT so that he can actually get some money out of the UMP purchase. But in the meantime now, Signature know this very well. They know they're facing a ecoed up opponent, so as you can see, they are sticking together, not allowing the CTs, should they get any frags, to come out with any sort of gun out of it. And I suppose that's the name of the game here in eco rounds.
Yeah, just do as much damage as you possibly can. If you can sneak away an AK, that would be a nice juicy bonus. But the way Signature have played the anti-ecos thus far, of course, very early days, it's been pretty passive. And it's actually a fancy one, I think. It's not Summer, which is very confusing. But either way, they are both going to get themselves kills. And honestly, that's not too bad for a pretty much a full-on eco. If they can get more from this, it would be even better. But it's going to be a dink. Not able to finish off what he started in Signature with a quick-fire 3-0. Flash Gaming do have enough funds to buy. And Kaz has gone straight in for the glass cannon orb, so all in on this round.
It's a bit of an interesting purchase, but I guess they do need to adapt at this point. And indeed, as we called it out, Karsa goes for that UMP. Just because he wasn't able to buy any kind of rifle and have decent utility to support his team. As you can see from the purchase here, not a lot of the CTs do have that utility. There's just 3 smokes at the minute. On a map like Train, you would definitely want to keep more utility to block off any kind of different angles, because the Ts can push from a lot of angles on both of the sides. So you need to be careful, especially on the A side, of course. This might be a smarter move with Signature to actually move from a clawed in position towards the A side, because they should be aware that Flash Gaming don't have that money for that all-important utility. But yes, as you called it out, Kaze does have an op in hand, and it is indeed a glass cannon. Now he's going to be playing a defensive role with this one. Looks like he's sticking somewhere close towards the Ivy position, if I'm not mistaken. while his teammate Karsa with that UMP is, as we called it out as well, we're fantastic at 4 in the morning. It seems here, Metis, he will be playing close to lower ramps here, opting to fall down as soon as he hears contact there. And indeed, there is one of the T's making a bit of noise, trying to attract some attention from the CT side of Flash Gaming here. But I do like the military discipline that Flash have shown so far. They're not going aggressive for their peaks. Perhaps it might end up hurting them respecting Signature like this.
Yeah, that's sometimes what you'll see teams do when they have a lack of utility or maybe not too many kits. They will go for the information grabbing. They will try and get up in the face and just get any information they possibly can. As you say, I mean, very disciplined play. 30 seconds left, and Signature still haven't elected to funnel on either of the sites. Now they're going to be coming through onto the B side. They're going to find the glass cannon up, and it's going to make them pay with 1 kill. Trade out instantly. Doesn't matter about the Kevlar at that stage. It was a headshot anyway. But with only 13 seconds left, if Karsa can get himself in the thick of the action, this could quickly spin in Flash Gaming's favor. Instead, he bites the dust, and now it's going to be the spray from range, actually just tapping in their attacker. Lands himself the headshot, down to a 2-on-1. Genius on the site, does have the bomb in his sights, but doesn't have any nades. And this is where you're expecting Flash Gaming to come around the side from Lovey and get the kill and the round. So we were discussing glass cannon up, not too many nades. They've made it work.
Yeah, indeed they have. And it was that important kill from Karsa that stopped that bit of a push. It made just a couple of seconds of a difference, but that couple of seconds actually turned out to be the whole round. Now, you did see him fall down indeed, and the op not being safe, but that is perfectly fine because Case can actually afford an op, and this time it's got to be full armored and with decent utility. And the defuse get thrown in there just for funsies, sure, why not? Of course, the retake was pretty good coming in from Lovely and his teammate there somewhere. As they opted to go in from a sort of a similar angle, they expected the last remaining T to be in the lower ramp area, and that he was indeed. It was a bit of a gamble, but it worked out in their favor nonetheless. And now Flash Gaming are on the board, and they want to keep themselves there. They want to gather this momentum and try and roll with it, I suppose, here, Metis. On a map like Train, you definitely want to see the CT side having as many rounds as possible.
Absolutely, and especially as they've just reset their own loss bonus too. So if they were to lose this, their funds would be in a pretty sketchy position, to say the least. Signature straight back in with full AKs. No interest in the AWP just yet. Loads of Molotovs, smokes on top of it. The set play is always on the table. And they have a very slow style on their T side of Train thus far. I'm curious to see if, when we get round to the dying embers of this half, if they've thrown in a couple of rushes into the mix.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see a bit of a change of play style indeed. Of course, it makes for more entertaining CSGO, but then again, it gives Signature a better chance at performing here, I suppose. Keeping a slow round, taking a page off, I suppose, Navi's tactic book wouldn't do them much good here, because Flash Gaming right now kind of read their game, so going in with all tricks, no matter what they try, might not just work out fine. But here's a new one. Here's a push towards the A side.
Yeah, the nades in the right position, but they've not funneled off attacker. The flashbang's not on point, and they are being punished. The only kill that's gone the way is onto attacker. Fancy one's also dropped to the hands of Rolex. And now, Karsa is going to be trying to funnel off what he can with the UMP on the other side of the map. Only 10 seconds remain, and that bomb still hasn't been anywhere near planted. It is going to go down, but unfortunately, it's not going to go down in time for Stickies to do anything. Tor gets the bomb planted, dies instantly afterwards, and Signature, who are forced into just a panic plan, not going to work for them. They end up conceding.
They kind of felt surrounded at that point in time. Not a very good cover from the back angle there. And indeed, it ended up in a complete mess for them. And Case as well, doing a great job so far, it seems, with his triple. Look at this beautiful ending to the round there. 2 quick kills. He couldn't stop the bomb planter, of course. That will allow Signature to have some sort of an economy, but it is not fantastic. It's weak at its best. As you can see, there's 1,500 on TDR. And, well, the lads have gone for a bit of a pistol armor sort of an option, which could be handy presented with a close-range battle. Of course, you know, the pistol SMG, as you'd call the Tech 9, can do pretty damaging things. And it looks like it's going to be B for the side of choice, at least initially here. And I do believe that Signature are going to be holding on to this, as they do have smokes to enable them to get onto the site. But here comes Case.
Able to get the flick and just pull himself back to flashbang on point. 3 kills from the same position, make it a 4th. And he's actually on for the ace. He's just narrowly missed that first shot, and Lovey will take it away. But Flash Gaming, who went 3-0 down, have bounced back with a vengeance. Signature will have a bye, but what a play that is with the AWP.
You could not fault this man for his skills. Look at this, 4, well, absolutely supreme shots. He didn't even flinch on the last one, and no scope. Absolutely dominating onto Signature's side. And it does look at this point that as Signature move into a gun round, it feels like they don't have any kind of a sight to penetrate. Whatever they tried with their slow pushes doesn't seem to be working. So there you go. It's going to be a fast one this time.
Into the embracing arms of Flash Gaming. And Kays has continually put that AWP to use. Very nicely done. Signature already, right off the bat, they were trying the rush. 3 players have fallen. And now Stickies, aka STK and Tor, funneled in to the team main side. And really they have very little options. The bomb's in the hands of STK, but I mean, that's the only thing going for him at this stage.
Really, it wouldn't be a harder game there for Sticky. If he would have tried there, Lovey will end him. And that's going to be the end of the round. Indeed, Flash Gaming have taken full control of the situation, and they seem to be doing absolutely fantastic with it. Now, mind you, Signature did try to change the pace in the last round, but it doesn't seem to be quite working out as well. They did attempt a fast entry on towards that A, but somehow they found themselves absolutely and utterly dominated by Flash Gaming, who seems to be on top of the game right now. Case is hitting all his shots. The AKs, the riflers, are absolutely decimating Signature as well. There's not much to be said at this moment in time. Signature need to find a bit of a magic, need to find their entry kills, or at least perhaps put their chances onto one of the players and hope for the best, I suppose, here, Metis.
All right, I am back.
Welcome back.
Had a bit of a technical issue for a second there, but it's all good.
We're not going to say that Metis kind of fell asleep listening to my dual set tones.
I mean, I think I got 15 minutes of sleep last night. I got in pretty late
You're a lucky
after
man.
the flight.
You're a lucky man, I want to say. I got to the hotel at 1:30, and the air conditioning wasn't working, so call up the guy.
That's pretty rough. It is pretty hot here, even at
it is, yeah.
crazy o'clock. It's still 21, 22 degrees Celsius. It's going to take a while
So sorry,
for
that's me.
my northern Irish, northern English.
How you doing yet? I suppose. Yeah, no, it will take a while to adjust. And while we do that, thank you for your patience and for coming in along the ride. And talking about the ride, look at Signature being taken for a ride themselves. And Flash Gaming absolutely destroyed them once again. TDR is the only one that finds the frag for his team there, but he's going to be falling down himself. This is going to be Genius. The last one stayed alive there with the bomb planted. So at least Signature got something out of this. But Flash Gaming, what a performance from these gentlemen here. It looks like there's no way out for Signature.
No, and when you consider that their first 3 rounds all came off the back of that pistol, and even then they were struggling a little bit, and you are starting to see the pattern emerge. And this is why Flash, I think in a lot of people's eyes, were one of the favorites coming into this one, especially in this map at least. And the only time, actually, in recent memory, at least looking through the statistics, that Flash have played Train, they wrecked eHome 16-4 on it in the Asian minor qualifiers just to get here. So they clearly are a team that can turn up the heat when it comes to Train. We've already seen that Kays and his AWP have been unbelievable in making that a reality. So much so that Signature certainly respecting him.
Yep, that is correct indeed. And, well, look at this one. It's 1 minute and a half left. And, well, Signature have gotten into that fear point where they are absolutely afraid to push in anywhere. In the meantime, though, Lovey, this time, yes, there you go. The disrespect, well, not really, though. He just has a bit of a more advanced position into Pop Doc, I suppose. It's a normal thing just to assume a bit of a dominance on that positioning, and it seems to be working out fine. Signature now, with 1 minute and 10 seconds, they have absolutely no real estate to work with, no information. They've utilized some of their utility. Not having, well, they still have a decent stack of amount. They could still do an easy execute wherever they choose to. But it just seems that at this point, they need to find a bit of a magic, a bit of a mojo, and forget who they're playing and try their best at it.
I think one of the main things they've struggled with when it's came to these rifle rounds has been entry frags. They've been sorely lacking when it's came through to the explosive, up-in-your-face, T-side Train. And Flash Gaming are able to just dismantle them from range. Seeing some smokes land. 2 players pushing an Ivy. Bomb still dropped towards the T-spawn though. And once again, 30 seconds left. We've already seen Signature fall into the same trap multiple times, and Kaze is having none of it. Once again, teeing off with 2 kills. Fancy one's going to fall. Tor's going to try and do something to pull him back into this round, but it may be too little too late. He's at least making this sting a little bit economically. And a 3rd kill onto Kaze partially through the train. 6 seconds. The CTs only have to camp. And this round is theirs, and Tor knows it. He's off to save.
TTR could be the secret sauce in Signature's dish here, but it seems to be a bit of a late moment for TTR to shine. He did have beautiful 3 kills there. Oh, there's that beautiful echo that we've heard before. Don't worry, Vince. It is heard by the stream indeed. That's what I wanted to tell you earlier on.
Also by them too?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
It's the thing is, what production told me is that, look, stream can't get enough of your voice, so we're going to double it up. But yeah, basically what's happening here, TDR might just be the savior that Signature need if, as crazy as that sounds, he finds entry frags with his op. If that does happen, then indeed Flash Gaming might see themselves in a bit of a stretch. But at the moment, as you can see it, their economy is absolutely flourishing, at least for 2 of their players, Lovey and Kars, both above 10 grand. Now, with this bit of a break here, it does look like Signature might need this timeout to talk through, because it seems that they've utilized some standard executes. So what they could do with this situation is try to build up something different, something that's not as standard as what they've done so far. Now, it is a bit of a technical issue that's going on right now in Beijing, and that's got to be sorted out quickly. We know that our brothers from PGL Beijing are very, very quick on the trigger when it comes to fixing. There you go.
There you go.
I called it.
Straight in.
Yep. So straight back into the game. Signature had a chance to take a breath. Do you think they're gonna bring themselves back into the game, or will Flash keep dominating?
It's hard to say. I mean, you're talking about crazy things. Kaze right now is on 14-5, and we're in round 10. This guy has been electric, and as soon as they take him down, I think Signature have a chance, but until that happens, then I'd have to say no. I think Flash will continue to go from strength to strength. Also, Kaze has been exceptionally fluid in his positioning with the AWP. He's been playing up on B, he's been playing on site, now he's looking up Ivy, and he had the right idea, he just got flashed out of position. He is going to stay there, though, and go for another peek. There's a smoke in his eyes, can't see anything, and that's going to come to a stalemate. Both AWPers back on off. And
this time it seems that Signature have tried to at least penetrate their way towards the B side. They're a bit further than they were the last round. There's nobody into Ivy, and they don't dare contest that one. They know they might be met with the op of Kaze, and he's been doing absolutely fantastic with it. So they don't want to upset him. They don't want to even blow a breath towards his position there. So instead, they're going to opt to go for some sort of a B push here. And this might just work a bit better. As you can see, the CTs are a bit far back.
Again, though, Signature waiting until the very end before starting to push in. 30 seconds this time. Caster can tee off from the catwalk. 2 kills go his way. And Molotov denying the bomb plant on top of it from Lovey. Tor tried his best, but he gets dismantled. And our Genius is landing the headshots, but he's all by himself. He's fighting a losing battle. 7-3. That's 7 rounds on the bounce now to Flash Gaming. And Signature, I mean, Tor saved the AWP, meant nothing. They still couldn't get it done.
Yeah, this kind of a push from Signature towards that B side would have been appreciated at the start of the game. They might have gotten away with it. But because Flash Gaming at this moment in time are so confident in their pushes, they didn't even wait for their teammates. They just went all in, all ham. 2 players up against all those Ts that were alive on the B side and absolutely wrecked house. So Signature didn't really have a standing chance as they pushed a bit forward to take their defensive positions, because they didn't expect that kind of an early push coming in from the CTs. They would have expected some sort of a concentrated, more focused, orchestrated rather, push towards that B side. But no, Flash Gaming seemed to have a very, very decent control on their aim right now and on their entry fragging. So it would be quite beautiful to see them perform on their T side. But before we go there, it does look like this round there's a bit of an action towards Ivy, and this is something that I actually like seeing, because Signature so far haven't peeked, haven't prodded towards this side of the map yet.
Now Tech9s, 1 smoke and a flash. Smoke has been thrown out in the hands of Genius. Still has a flashbang. The idea? Get up close and personal with the Tech9s. That's really where these weapons shine. They still have players, though, towards the bathroom side as well. And that's where the smoke comes handy. It actually funneled off the 2 players on IV. It doesn't matter, though, because the AKs are still ripping through the faces of Signature. They've made this one a fairly close round, but Rolex is going to fall last. Attacker with 4 kills in that round, padding his stats, and Signature right back in with another buy.
Yeah, and his teammate was blocked off from that crossfire that they set up from that really good smoke coming in from the T's, but that smoke did not completely block his vision. So he was able to actually get in there and get some really, really nice and handy frags. And Signature didn't even check their backs. They suddenly turned around to find Attacker quickly there, like an attack helicopter, I suppose. And yeah, well, there's not much to say about that one, indeed. It was just Signature being a bit careless about the situation. The crossfire not working perfectly for Flash Gaming, so it would have given Signature an opportunity to push in. But alas, Flash Gaming, by Attacker perhaps, had their perfect sights. And talk about perfect sights, here comes Kaja.
How is that possible that he gets 3 1v1 trades when all the team is there? That is madness. You've got to peek him together. And he will just, I mean, take nothing away from Carter. That's beautiful AK work.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things that we appreciate right now about Flash Gaming is their focused more team work, I suppose, more focused on the teamwork sort of style of play. However, Signatures seem to be exactly lacking that. When they push into a side, their communication is so bad that they don't even know what to say to their teammates. And that's how all of a sudden you will see their team absolutely decimated. Look at this Karsa. Here comes the first, here comes the second. And the third one's going to be allowed before one of the T's steps in and actually takes him down. So that is going to be a very, very happy day for Flash, who now are on 9 points and will very, very likely to go on double digits, which means that Signature, well, they're not going to have an easy time on their CT side. Let's just say that.
I said AK work, M4, correction there, but what was surprising to me is that Signature didn't at least spray through the smoke towards his position. They just went out 1 by 1. Typically you want that insta-avenge frag. Dropping into Pop Dog, but the bomb is dropped at T-spawn. A declaration of intent. Maybe the Signature aren't planning on pushing anywhere for the time being. You need that bomb with you.
We haven't seen him in Pop Dog at all. You need to consider that. And none of the rounds have Signature actually dared to go in there. And there you go. TDR is going to be the first one to fall on the T side. And it's so early in the game that, well, or in the round, that considering what Signature have to work with here, that they're not going to have plenty of chances. And that they don't indeed. It's going to be Lovey with 2 good frags. And now Arlex and Genius. The last one staying alive with the Tech 9 and a Dig. And perhaps a Dream. But that Dream seems to be withering away minute after minute.
It sure is. And those 3 rounds all came at the very start of this map. 9 in a row to Flash Gaming, including 6 or 7 rifle rounds. Pretty much as brutal as it gets on train. Rolex clearly trying to push his way out, see if he can get himself a 4th round on the board, but he's got 5 Flash Gaming members to fend off against. And of course it's not going to happen. 10-3, Signature back in with another rifle. Will Tor go for another AWP? Hasn't really worked out for him. He has the option, 5.5k. He's really deliberating over this. He's going to go for the AK.
Yep, there you go. 10-3, double digits right now for Flash Gaming. And you could see from the last round there by Genius's shot with the Deagle, the confidence isn't really up to high standards right now in Team Signature. They're not really feeling like they're hitting the shots, and for good measure because they're not really doing it. And, well, their struts are not working, their entry fragging is not working, their defense position, once the bomb has been planted, absolutely stumped down from Flash Gaming. And indeed, it does seem like this game is going to be quite an easy one for Flash, who have been doing great so far. We need to point this one out, though. Flash have actually managed to beat, in a BO3 in an earlier game, Team Vichy. And now they're quite a highly rated Chinese team as well. So Flash definitely seem to have a bright future in this group here.
Oh, absolutely. I think most people would expect them to at least get out of this one. Attacker with a double spray down the AK on point, down to 19. Okay, STK is making this a little bit more interesting. Maybe they can end the half with a flurry on top of starting it. But Tor's been put down. Rolex, 55 seconds, and only 3 players remain. One of the first times we've seen this so far. It's been very slow rounds by Signature. And Rolex has decided that he's going to go all in on a player being behind the green train. Fortunately for him, the timing actually pays off for him. He doesn't get caught on the backside. He may be about to from Karsa, who's made a move through on the Ivy. But speaking of timing, it's going to be Carcer who falls to it. 30 seconds left. He still needs to salvage the bomb, and he has no idea where Fancy One is. This could all just come down to that millisecond, Boogie, where a player looks away at the worst possible second, and there it is.
You called it. It did happen indeed, and Summer's on top of his game. 11-3 right now for Flash Gaming. An easy peasy situation there. Signature don't seem to have much chance as the heroes of their country, it seems. But not too much in this duel. Flash Gaming on top of their absolute prowess. And look at what they're doing here. They're buying an auto-op, for God's sake. I think Attacker's going to be the one picking it up there. Yes, indeed, it's going to be Attacker. And just well, you know, to add assault to injury there, Signature won't be feeling too great when they hear those shots. I'll tell you that much.
Definitely not, but I actually think the Auto Sniper is very viable on a map like Train, because you do have these vast areas where, you know, terrorists are trying to push through. They've been very slow so far, and you can just rattle off bullets whether there's smoke there or not. But yeah, it is the kind of weapon that if you die to it, I mean, the salt just builds and builds and builds. Signature, again, we've seen this before. Pretty default stuff on Train, split across the map. It just hasn't been working for them. And already, actually, looking at their nade tally, not too many. They got 3 smoke shots, not bad, but only a Molotov and 2 flashes to accompany it. It's hard to see how they break through in this round.
Yes, indeed. They didn't have much to work with at the start, and they don't have more now, obviously. Not even any kind of situation in terms of real estate. They seem to be round after round just keeping back, just waiting for Flash Gaming to obliterate them. And well, that's not something that's going to net you rounds. Look at this, 42 seconds left on the map, and not a single push, nowhere, no information gathered from no place. Finally, something coming from Ivy this time, and it does look like it's going to be an ace-sided execute.
The jump will save the life of Attacker just for a few more seconds. Genius out with the AK, and it's been one of the few times where Signature have got a whole bunch of entry frags going their way. So for all we were talking about, the lack of utility simply does not matter. Last round of the half. Kays and Carcer. What do you have in store? Open M4. Tor's going to land himself on Carcer. And to be fair to Tor, he's got quite slick reaction speed. We've seen him land some big AWP frags. I mean, it's been really him and Kays who collectively have 29 kills between the two of them. Yeah,
pretty much. It does look like Tor is doing a good job for his team so far. He is carrying not by far, as you can see on the scoreboard there. And you can see a much more equaled up kind of situation in terms of carrying performance on the Flash Gaming side. Of course, there's Kays, which is one of the top MVPs in his team. But still, his teammates are still doing good. Wherever Signature go to, they seem to be met with quite fierce prowess. Very, very good aiming, very good defense coming in from Flash Gaming, who this time are on their T side. Now, we've seen their potential for defense fragging, but through that shines some really, really nice entries as well. Let's see if this is going to work out in their favor and if they're going to be able to close this one out soon, because if they get this round, it's going to be that much more difficult for Signature to come back into a potential 13-4.
Yeah, I can't help but feel this may be a do-or-die moment for Signature.
Yep.
CT's side can be incredibly vulnerable, economically speaking. And if they were to lose this, they're an 8-round deficit. Those last lifelines are going to be depleted very quickly. That Deagle was not far off, and Kays is going to land another one. Alex is like, all right, fair enough. I'll just get the hell out of here then.
Let's just go for sandwiches real quick.
Let me just go chill for a little bit. I'm on 27 health. I'm feeling a little bit tired.
Just a tiny tad bit. Yeah, it's not a great day when you're the only one that doesn't have armor on your team, taking one for it. So you go for the defuse instead. And here comes the Deagle action. But yes, with that in mind, Flash Gaming will be pushing as they have cleared with those blind shots. A bit of Ivy. They still have one more CT to contend to on that long side of there. Sticky, though, finds a lovely frag there. Talking about lovely. He returns one for his team.
Giggs is there, though, with the USP. The kills just training back and forth. It's hard to see who is going to come out.
Okay.
And Kays, although he was landing shots through the smoke with no problem, when there's players ahead of him and he can see them, not quite as good aim.
Look at the HP.
The HP on everybody is minuscule. Yep. One bullet, a gust of wind, they're all going to fall down. But is there going to be strength in numbers? Signature have the 2v1, and there comes Fancy with one in a second as well. He's going to take the round out, and they will be bitterly disappointed. That was such a huge round for Signature, and they've let it slip through their fingers.
Yes, indeed. As you called it, pretty much a do-or-die kind of situation. Signature could not have afforded to lose this pistol round because, as you can see, their purchase is going to be far from ideal, while Flash Gaming are going to go in all in. 3 AKs, an MP7, and a UMP is what their lineup consists of right at this moment. And they do have 3 flashes, so they're going to be, 3 smokes. So they are going to be ready for Signature's pushes and probably possibly use those. Oh, no, they seem to be using 2 of them already for some sort of an A-side fake, but this is not going to be sticking well with Sticky, pardon the pun, as he is holding close to Pop Doc, and he might have just heard Flash Gaming. He definitely heard one player now firing his AK. And with that bait still, it's time for Signature to prove their military discipline and hold on to their position, because at their best they can play out a retake scenario because they need to all crawl into the same place. They don't have the chance unless they have that man advantage.
That's very true. The only issue with the retake scenario is they have no kit and only a flash.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a fast one.
So you have to feel they're going to have to pick off 1 or 2 players with these CZs and 5-7 if they want any hope. Molotov down into Pop Dog, of course, we saw previously. And Signature did have a player in there. That's going to draw him away. So trying to take some control, trying to flex their muscles here, Flash Gaming. They still have a smoke that can be tossed out onto B if they so choose. Fancy, who was waiting outside for the rotation, has found his man. Rolex bites the dust. 40 seconds left, and here comes the push. Lovey in with 2 entries, and that pretty much is this round laid to rest. Sticky's 5-7 probably just actually wants to save this, but there's so many players going to be pushing his location.
Yeah, he would be good to go for attacker's position, but that position is going to be defended as well. So no chance. And there's not that much to save. There's just an MP7 onto Sticky's hands, which could actually prove to be quite big. On to the next round, he could drop the 5-7 and keep the MP7 for himself, but never mind, we're really looking far further than Sticky's current position, which is, well, laying down on the floor, crawling into a bit of a fetal spot, and just, you know, hoping for the best in the next game, because this one seemed to be quite a dominating performance. And look at this one. The economy onto Flash Gaming now is starting to flourish. Attacker is the only one that wouldn't be able to purchase in the next round should they lose this one, but they shouldn't indeed, because Signature, well, they're on an eco.
They've gone for the triple nade though, so looking to carpet bomb somewhere and see if they get lucky.
Right here.
And it's going to be into team A.
Yep.
Has done quite a bit of chunk onto Attacker, but everyone else is relatively undeterred. And the entry is now going to be going the way. I mean, it's USPs up against AKs, UMP, and the MP7.
I'm not too sure what the point of triple nade is when you go in with USPs after.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those kind of things where you just hope for the best. You cross your fingers and think, maybe we can get a triple kill off this, but it's so unlikely that even if you do guess the right position. I mean, you saw that. Just CS nade things. Sometimes it'll land plumb on someone's head and do like 3 damage.
Yeah, true.
So
you get CS goat.
I can't help but feel that maybe, and again, this is just nitpicking, that their position is horrific, whatever that, you know, they go for. Maybe P250s instead cost around the same amount, you know, then you've got more of a chance, I feel.
Exactly.
But because they did go for that little investment in the last round rather than a full-on
you can see it hurting now.
Very, very few nades. They've got no kits, and they've already tossed out the majority of their nades at the start of the round.
Yeah, I would love to see a UMP perhaps and more nades used in here, but they're not going to be needed. Instead, it's going to be Flash Gaming crawling into the A side there, finding some nice shots, because Tor returns one and Arlex one as well. OK's with a bit of a team damage there. Team kill for him, but that's okay because he finds another one on Arlex. So this time it's got to be Tor all alone in a 1v2 situation with the bomb planted on the A side there, and he's going to be going down. And Flash Gaming now on game point.
That's one of the better rounds that we've seen from Signature in a rifle round, but ultimately the same result. UMPs across the board, 5 of them in total. But Signature still going with no kits, and they could have afforded that.
Yeah.
Instead, they've prioritized the likes of Incendiaries, which is completely fine. But I can't help but feel that one of these players maybe could have tapped out and just gone for the kit instead.
No, there's definitely something wrong with Signature's purchases in the past few rounds. Not only the past few rounds, maybe a bit more than that. At the point that they learned that Flash Gaming cannot be beating on their CT side, it just seemed like their game kind of withered away, and it just kind of seems to be going that way so far. And now, talking about withering away, Sticky and BNW are going to be dying down for this round in a 3v5 situation, and this is do or die. If ever a good proper term was to be used for a round, Now Flash Gaming, 1 round to victory. This is the last moment that they have, and it's a 2v2 here, Metis. Somehow they've turned it around.
Oh, they may even be about to steal this one away from Flash Gaming. May end up being a drop in the bucket, seeing as there's still a vast deficit between these two teams, and you can't write off Caster just yet. He is down to 8 health. The UMP at this range will still take him out the equation. But there's a minute on the timer as well. He can start to play some mind games with Rolex. You can hear noise, but doesn't really tell Rolex a great deal with this much time remaining. And the bomb's now been picked up. Caster is going to move his way over on the B side. Rolex has called it. He does have a smoke now, but again, this is maybe where the lack of a kit's going to hurt Signature.
Look at this Tom and Jerry kind of game.
But hold on.
This is going to be working out just fine for Rolex.
Rolex has this.
It must be.
Is he going to knife him? No.
You
Okay.
wouldn't dare.
Fair enough.
Oh.
I thought for a second when he saw his head and he started coming out, I was like,
There was a pause.
The big balls play, is it happening right now
Yeah.
at the minor? No. Fair enough, because if he gets spun around on and dies, I mean, that is the biggest tilt moment probably of his life.
Yep, that would be the new 1G, I suppose. But yeah, there you go. Flash Gaming will still be on to match point while Signature 10 rounds behind. And now they need to make something happen. As you've seen, Signature's team haven't been performing so far so well. You had a look at the scoreboard there just a second ago. But they are making a purchase happen. And now, look at this. Tor actually has an op to work with here. Full armor, which I don't really see the point of because they should be expecting 4 rifles and an op on the side of Flash Gaming. But still, he went with it, and still he had money for a defuse kit, which is going to be very important because Flash Gaming have that power, have that prowess to enter a site and plant the bomb without any sort of concern. So, yes, if Signature's members remain alive, they would really, really use that defuse kit so far, it seems. But look at this bit of action with the bomb actually being carried through Ivy.
Incendiary and Flash, the only 2 nades on the belt of Signature. I have to feel like Tor's going to have to stand up tall here. Rolex just waiting on the other side of the smoke. Trying to peer through, see if he can find a pixel to try and shoot off. And he's going to be spraying through. Lands one, looking for a second. The bomb also gets dropped out in the open. Will be salvaged by Flash, but this is looking a lot better for Signature. Up until a moment where Lovey pushes out a pop dog and next 2 players pay. Rolex to try and save. In a 1-on-2, he's going to be put down from a headshot and attacker. And that's one hell of a start there to Flash Gaming. They lose the first few rounds as a result of the pistol. And other than that, they absolutely wrecked it. They just steamrolled over Signature.
Absolutely. They didn't give any kind of chance for Signature to come back into it. They kept gaining and gaining and gaining on the momentum. And you see how well they capitalized on every single purchase that they made. Utility game on point. Shots on point. Retakes, even 2 retakes versus 4 or versus 5. Working out absolutely superb. And yes, indeed, you have your first victor here, ladies and gents. It will be Flash Gaming with an absolutely supreme performance against their, well, weakened opponents, so to speak, Signature.
Yeah, they didn't really get moving, did they, on train, especially their T side. It started well, but again, it doesn't necessarily paint a full picture when a team gets the first 3 rounds. But that's enough from us too. We're going to head back to the desk where Paul and the analysts have a few words for us.
More than a few words, I'm sure. Thanks, gents. So we'll head back there, of course, for game number 2. Back on the desk with Dust and with Natu to find out what they made of our opening match here at the PGL Asia Minor. It is an interesting start, Dust. I think when Signature opened up, you sort of thought, oh, okay, well, maybe we get a game here. Just false dawn, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you quickly realize that they just weren't playing anything like what I normally see. Like when I watch some of their demos from their online matches, they're really fast-paced, they're really confident, their individuals like to make plays. Here, they seem really timid. They're going out one by one a lot of the time. They seem disjointed. You didn't really see them go for a lot of fast-paced plays. In fact, a lot of the rounds, they looked like they were going down in the last 20 or 30 seconds, and then they were going out one by one as well on top of that. So they just looked way out of their element. And, I mean, it was just easy pickings, really, for Flash. I mean, Kaze was able to go on a clinic with AWP. He even had Kaza styling on him in Inner Halls one round with a hat trick. If you're letting that happen, then you're probably not going to win the game.
Yeah, it's definitely 2 teams from different leagues, you could say, right? It was, we'd say in Finnish, it's fathers versus sons. I think that pretty much sums it up in this situation. First 3 rounds, you feel like, okay, this could be a game out of it. But then Flash, when they get the guns going, it felt like it was just made way too easy for them as well. Signature not doing a great work of utilizing grenades, trying to smoke the choke points and pushing in together. I think that pretty much sums it up, is the fact that they were way too individualistic when it comes to actually executing towards a bomb site. They would go in one by one. The distance between one player to another being way too long means that you don't have the possibility to refrag. And then that's why you see situations like Karsa managing to get 3 kills in our halls.
And it's like one thing if you play slow and like you're getting something out of it, like you're getting an objective, you're taking map control, you're setting up for something, you're trying to make a play, but it almost seemed like they were playing slow for the sake of playing slow and never really accomplishing anything. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh snap, we're out of time, we got to go for something here, and then it's just completely not on the same page for all their players, as you were mentioning yourself there with the 1-by-1 distance thing.
Yeah, it's so uncomfortable when they were playing slow as well. You could tell that it's not their thing to even play that way, because they couldn't even establish any map control. They would then just go for a Hail Mary from one of the spots. A lot of it was through the alley, but not really having any idea of what we're doing, not really trying to force a pick to make it a 5-on-4 before going for a bomb site. So yeah, might be because they were timid, considering they don't have a lot of experience playing in this kind of a stage. This is obviously a big opportunity for them. So first game, all that kind of jitters coming into play, obviously it's going to affect you.
Yeah, I mean, they had a moment where they paused, and we thought, oh, actually, I think Dustin and I were discussing probably a good time to pause. I think it was 6-3 at the time. They lost 6 in a row. Okay, that's a good pause. Then we come out, and immediately this is more like we used to. They're going to rush now. But it was chaotic. It was everywhere. It was all or nothing. They were coming out in 1-by-1. Is there a style that they can find here that's going to get them points and get them out of the group?
I think overall, I mean, you can, if you want to play fast pace, there's a lot of like little details you can add into it. Think of the flashes you can throw in fast space towards the inner halls, towards between the ramps area, for example. They could have totally blinded Karsa there and makes his life super hard. So instead of just running in through a smoke without really having any kind of a plan at all. Not really hard to say if there's a way that they can be successful at this point in time. Considering the group they're in, I think they're going to be dead in the water in the big picture. But yeah, I don't think there probably is a way for them to go forward, if I'm honest.
Not on that performance anyway. We haven't talked about Flash too much. They didn't do an awful lot wrong in that match, but didn't really get pushed hard, did they?
I mean, they didn't have to do anything on their T side, right? I mean, they came out 11-4. They won pistol. It was pretty much a done deal at that point. I mean, you don't even have to crack open the playbook at that. You feel like you can just play individually, probably do a couple of simple things, and you're probably going to finish the game. That's exactly what happened. I mean, you even had it in early because of like crazy clutches that were actually happening, like the Glock round, for instance, where everyone had super low HP. You had some crazy things like that going on. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of similar to what we saw Flash in the minor qualifier. They still have yet to have to really show us anything to get by. Like, they've been able to just play simple, save whatever it is they're working on until they need it, and they haven't needed it yet.
Okay. Player of the game? Who stood out for you? Was it
Kaze?
Yeah, probably Kaze, yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
Good half, didn't he, first half? He was in the right places, pulled off the AWP shots when he needed them.
Exactly. I mean, what I look from Opper is that he needs to show dominance. I think he so far, obviously, playing as Signature, not going to be the best benchmark, but at the same time, him showing that he can take dominance, he could beat that one guy taking multiple opponents with an op. So
and it wasn't just kills; it was positions as well, because he took that upper inner area for one point. Then he was in Z. Then he was outside. It kind of kept them guessing a little bit. Do you think that maybe added to the problems that they had trying to get, like, where is he? We don't want to go wherever he is.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, I think that the best operas of today are very mobile, and that's exactly what you need to do. You need to keep your opponents guessing and make it hard for your opponents on the T side to try and distract the things you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the only shortcoming was I feel like there was – I hate to do this because they obviously dominated the game, but there was a couple times where I feel like he did a couple things that he probably wouldn't get away with against a better team, like that one round where he was holding passive upper inner and he just like kept peeking and overextending and stuff like that. That stuff you got to nip in the butt now, because while you didn't get punished for it here, someone else is going to exploit that later. But other than that, I mean, he played fantastic.
As you can see in Beijing right now, they've got the Chinese version of Yanko just delivering the weatherman segment to the local crowd. Of course, we don't go out in China because it's in Mandarin, and my Mandarin is pretty sloppy.
It's questionable.
Probably just drew a body bag, unzipped it, stuck Signature inside of it, zipped it back up, sent it on its way. It's pretty much. That's about the only weatherman segment you could really do there.
Okay, thank you very much, gents. We are headed to a very quick break. When we come back, it will be time for the second game of the day. They're all best of ones to start off. Next up, we're going to see Renegades in action to find out whether they've got what it takes to qualify for the offline finals. We'll see you soon.